today we're taking on one of the tougher park runs in Sydney with a steep climb which burns the legs but is rewarded with incredible skyline views, and that is St. Peters Park Run. So in today's video I'm going to be telling you everything that you need to know about this park run whilst also trying to achieve my fastest time, so let's get into it. St. Peters Park Run is located on the south side of Sydney within Sydney Park in New South Wales, Australia. The park run is an undulating 2-lap course all on surface paths, so therefore I'd recommend wearing road shoes to this one, and it is also good to know that it starts at 8 AM like most of the other park runs do here in Australia. It's quite a tough park run, to be honest. It's got one big hill at the start which does take it out of view, however you do get those incredible skyline views from the top, so I'm looking forward to showing you that. And it is also good to know that it is actually buggy/pram friendly, it is dog friendly too, and there are public toilets less than a 5-minute walk from the start as they are dotted all around Sydney Park. The park run is also a fairly busy one with 489 runners on the day which we went, and it does get quite congested as the paths aren't too wide. And I probably wouldn't say this one is great for a PB either, because it's pretty congested, number one, and also because it's quite hilly too, so that's going to definitely slow you down and stop you from getting your PB. But in terms of the scenery, it is beautiful. It's a really nice park, Sydney Park, so I'd recommend going around the park if you're not doing the park run anyway, and then you also do get amazing views of Sydney, so both of those is an added bonus to this park run. And now you know a little bit more about this park run, let me take you through a quick summary of St. Peters Park Run course. So it is basically made up of 2 laps, so you've got the one big lap at the start which consists of both sections, so you do the first small loop followed by the second small loop, and then you're going to end up doing that second small loop again, but this time this one doesn't include the big hill, which is good news. So it's got an elevation gain of approximately 54 meters and a max elevation of 29 meters. So now you know what this park run looks like, let me take you through it in just that little bit more detail, as this is quite a confusing one and there are lots of hills and stuff which you should know about. So you're going to start off here on the south side of Sydney Park and head your way up towards the north. So you're then going to do a quick sharp right hand turn and go all the way around the Bunmara wetlands, passing the Sydney Park wetlands, and all of this so far is pretty undulating. Then going to do a sharp left hand turn here, heading towards the centre of the park, before then doing a right hand turn and heading your way up the hill. So this is the really steep hill, when once you get to the top you'll get amazing views of the Sydney skyline. You're then going to head your way all the way back down the other side, doing the loop of the oval, and then once you've done that loop there's a little bit of a steep incline here, and then you're back onto the main path, and that is fairly flat to undulating as you head your way all the way back towards the start. Now instead of going left here, you're actually going to go right and head your way again back towards the centre of the park, but thankfully not towards the hill. You're then going to do a left hand turn once you've passed the Sydney Park wetlands and head your way towards the left side of the park, doing a loop around this section here, and then you'll get to this car park bit which at the moment has got some work going on, so it's not too pretty. But once you pass that car park you're going to head your way south back towards the start, and it is downhill to begin with, followed by a little bit of an uphill section once you get out of this tree area here, and then you do one more loop of that small section before you then head your way back towards where you started, and that will be your finish line. So it sounds a little bit complicated, however they've got arrows and cones and volunteers at all the different sections pointing you in that right direction so that you don't go wrong. And with that many runners today, you're not going to find yourself running on your own really, unless you're up there at the front. And now you have an idea of just how difficult this park run is, let me take you through some incredible park run records which have been set here at St. Peters Park Run. Starting off with the fastest male, who is Martin Dent, with a time of 14 minutes and 51 seconds, which is actually insane. I don't know how they've managed to get under 15 minutes at this park run. The fastest female is Victoria Mitchell with a time of 16 minutes and 54 seconds. So again, an unbelievable time. Some very fast people going to this park run. The average number of runners is around 451, so it does get very congested, and the average time is 29 minutes and 11 seconds. Now this just proves how fit Sydney actually is, because that is an incredible average time. So now we've taken a look at some incredible park run records here, but now let's take a look at my overall park run stats. So I've currently done 107 park runs at 83 different locations, so both of those are going to go up by 1 today. My best finish position was 4th, set in Poland's Zielony Jar and also Kangaroo Island in South Australia, and then my fastest times there from 22:32 down to 23:01, with Mount Barker being my recent one of 22 minutes and 52 seconds. But it looks like today we're not going to be able to beat this one because of just how challenging and tough this one is. And now let's make our way down to event number 674 of St. Peters Park Run, where you can see it is pretty congested, very busy right now. We're hemmed in towards the centre of the pack, so I feel like it's going to be a pretty slow start. I also forgot to tell you that we do start on grass, but it's literally for about 20 metres, if that, and then you'll be back onto hard standing. So there's no point in bringing trail shoes. You might as well just keep with those road shoes. You can see it's quite a cool little course map there in that bottom left-hand corner, but we're going to be setting off in 3, 2, 1, we're off, and this park run begins. And quite quickly we get stuck behind some people. We've had to dodge the park run sign there. We had to duck so we didn't get our head taken off, and we're now trying to make our way towards the front. So we're just overtaking a couple of people right now, but do be careful as there's a few like trees and roots and stuff that you don't want to trip over right at the start, otherwise that is a pretty bad omen for the rest of the park run. But we're now heading onto that hard standing path, which we'll be on for the remainder of the run, apart from right at the end where we'll do that little section again on grass. But you're going to make a right hand turn. You might be able to see some people in the distance who have already done it, so it's going to slow down a little bit here, especially if you're caught in the congested pack, and then you're going to speed up again. But you can see just how busy it is. We're trying to keep to an edge so that we can start to overtake a couple of people. So it's maybe a little bit of a gradual incline right now as we make our way around the wetland section in just a moment. But if you are enjoying this review so far, I'd really appreciate it if you smash that like button and also subscribed if you are new. It goes a long way to supporting the channel, and right now around 75% of you who are watching these videos are not yet subscribed, so I'd really appreciate it if you did. But let's see how we get on over this first 0.5 kilometers. We are now half a kilometre into the run, and it's still pretty congested right now, so having to sort of weave our way around a couple of people. The elevation's sort of going up and down at the moment. It's quite undulating around this point, and we're now heading our way up towards what is known as the hill. So in just a moment you are going to see just how difficult the hill is, but if we can keep up at this pace we'll get a decent time and hopefully try and get a sub 25-minute time too. We're currently going at around a 4:40 pace, but if you do want any information on my pace or the elevation, which you can see in that bottom right hand corner, then you can check out my Strava, which I'll leave a link to in the description below. So we've just finished that first kilometre in a time of 4 minutes and 51 seconds, and we're now turning off to the right to the hill. So you can see that it is a steep incline all the way up to the top, and you'll notice the elevation in that bottom right hand corner slowly adding up. You might be able to notice too on the floor there was some chalk. Don't know whether you can see any of it yet, not quite I don't think, but it was basically motivational quotes to push you all the way up to the top of the hill. I don't know how people do this bit with the buggy, but as soon as you get up to the top with that buggy you can just jump on the back and head your way all the way back down the other side. But the views from the top of here are incredible, so I can't wait to show you them as we make our way up to the top. There we go, almost there. We've got Lewandowski, who's actually running this park run today, right ahead of us too, so fair play to him getting up to the top. But our pace has dropped right down now to about a 5 minutes and 35 second time, so you can see just how much we are struggling, but we are able to overtake a couple of people. And it's quite cool too because the planes fly over this hill as well, so if you time it perfectly you'll time the run with the plane coming past as well. But take a look at these views, they are absolutely insane. We've made it up to the top. You can see all the way across the skyline to downtown Sydney, which is amazing. You obviously can't see the Opera House or the bridge or anything, so that's on the opposite side. But now we're heading our way back down the other side of the hill, and we can say that we've completed the hardest bit and we've got our reward from it too. We are now at about 1.5 kilometres into the run, and we're making our way around the Allen Davidson Oval, which is a nice and flat section, which is good, so you can make up the time that you lost going up the hill just back there. But on the opposite side of this hill there is a little bit of a steep incline, so once we get there I'll show you that. this is it. So we've almost completed the full lap of the oval, and we're now turning off to the left-hand side past like this pavilion-looking thing. I'm guessing it's for the oval, and the nets are there on that left-hand side for the cricket practice. But it goes downhill to begin with, which is quite nice. It's a false sense of security because then there's a little bit of a steeper incline on the other side. Now this burns your legs a little bit, especially after doing that incline just a second ago. You can see my pace dropping dramatically as we push our way up to the top of here. But now we're going to turn off to the left to complete our first loop, and we won't be heading our way back to any of this loop again for this whole run. 2 kilometers into the run, and we completed the last kilometer in a time of 5 minutes and 1 second. So pretty happy with that, bearing in mind how hard that kilometer actually was. And we're now heading our way back towards the start. So we're doing a lap of that wetland on the exact same path which we were just on. So it's fairly flat, this one, with maybe a very small bit of up and downhill undulation. But once we make our way back towards the start, we'll have completed that first main loop. 2.5 kilometers into the run, and we're going at a slightly faster pace than we were in the previous kilometer, and with only half of the run to go, we are feeling good. So you'll notice that this is back towards where we started. So if you went off to the left here, that is where you started and headed back the way that we have just come from. But we're going to turn off now to the right and head our way round this second loop. Now this loop is much easier, which you'll see in just a second, and it's a lot less congested too at the moment. However, when you come back round to do it the second time, then it does get more congested again. And as we almost hit that 3 kilometer mark, we're now going to turn off to the right hand side and head our way around another path. So I think the elevation does increase slightly in this section. It's obviously dropped down from 8 meters down to 1, and now it's going back up again, as you can see in that bottom right hand corner. So we did that last kilometer in a time of 4 minutes and 59 seconds, which I'm pretty happy about because we were able to do that one quicker than the previous one. But this is again slightly harder because you're going up that small incline as you make your way around this section of the park. And in just a moment, we're going to head our way back towards that parking area where you'll see there's some work being done and stuff like that. And then we have that reward of going back downhill towards the start. And there we go. So we've completed half the loop now and are heading our way back down the opposite side. So you'll see the elevation start to drop in just a moment. It started off at 18 and we're already down to 14 meters. So this is a nice little section where you can pick up the pace again as it is slightly downhill. So hopefully you've got enough energy saved for this downhill section. So we're now about 3.5 kilometers into the run, and we're in the woodlands section, which is actually really nice and pretty. This is a very nice park, so I definitely recommend walking around it if you ever do get the chance to, if you don't want to do this park run. And it's got a really easy train route too, which I'll go through a bit later. But it's one last crossing of the bridge, and then it is an uphill towards where you started. So this is a little bit of a push following that downhill. So you've got to try and keep the momentum up to get yourself up to the top here. And then you're going to, instead of turning off to the right, which is where the finish line is, you're actually going to turn off to the left, where you're going to be doing that small lap for a second time. So you'll notice this is where it gets a little bit congested as you're joining on with the slower runners who are on their first lap. So you're just having to sort of slip into place. And because they keep off to the left, you can actually collide in that section. So do be very wary there. And this is where it gets a little bit harder as well to start overtaking people, because you've obviously got the slower runners on the left-hand side and then the quicker runners are on the right-hand side. And the paths aren't really that wide, so it does get quite difficult to overtake at the moment. It's not too bad, but in a moment you'll notice that we find it quite difficult to get past this 25 top here, because it is now an uphill. So you do see people slowing down on the uphill too, which makes it just that little bit harder to overtake. And we are now at 4k in. We've managed to get past purple 25 top, and we ran that last kilometre at a pace of 5 minutes and 1 second. So we seem to be pacing ourselves pretty well today at this park run. We're not going too slowly, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we should get under that 25-minute time, which is our target for all park runs, unless they are extremely hilly, and then obviously we raise the bar there. But it is still a slightly gentle incline as we make our way off to the right-hand side and around this section for the final time. With 500 meters to go, I'll be pretty happy if we're able to keep at this pace for the rest of the run. And I forgot to say, there's a little bit of an uphill to begin with in this south section. So this bit here is an uphill, and you notice the elevation go up to about 20 meters. So it's a slight little incline, which you have to do before you do the decline over the other side. And most of this park run is pretty much undulation. So I'll just expect it to go up and down by sort of 5 meters at a time, apart from that one big hill at the start, which is definitely a lot harder than the rest of the park run. So we're now heading our way up to that 20 meters of elevation, and now we're going to be heading our way back down to the other side and towards that finish line. And you may begin to recognise that this is the bridge which we had to cross just a few minutes ago, and with 200 meters to go, it is that final sprint, but it is uphill, which makes it harder. God, blue top flies past us, and so does another top, so we think, you know what, now we can start picking up the pace as you push up the hill, and then you're going to turn off to the left hand side in just a second, back onto that grass section. Let's go, big sprint finish. Can we get under that 25-minute times? It looks like we can. We're going to get a time of 4 minutes and 51 for this kilometre. Huge sprint finish as we pass a couple of people, and we're going to get a time of 24 minutes and 41 seconds. So pretty chuffed with that as we beat that sub 25, and we also came in 80 seconds. So it just shows how many quick people do go to this park run, bearing in mind how low we were. But we're going to have a quick rest up against one of these poles now. Quick breather, a few stretches too for the calves to make sure that all is good. And now I'm going to take you through a quick summary of St. Peters Parkrun. St. Peters Parkrun complete, ticking off the 10th S on the Alphabeti challenge. So we've still got 3 letters remaining, but we're absolutely smashing the S's as we're already up to 10. I also get the position bingo 80 seconds. So I've never come 82nd before, so that has also contributed to my progression on that challenge. But in terms of the park run and whether you're going to get a PB or not, I'd probably say no. I'm happy for people to challenge me on that one, because there's obviously some people getting pretty fast times, but I'm not too sure why, because I thought this one was a fairly tough one, especially compared to the flatter ones which you can do in and around the area. But I would also like to say a huge thank you to all of the volunteers who were there on the day, because without them these park runs could not go ahead, and they were really good at pointing us in that right direction, because this was a pretty confusing park run course if you didn't have all the volunteers there and all the chalk markings on the floor. But now that we've completed another park run, let's take a look at our after run overall park run stats, where it increases the number of park runs to 108 and the number of locations also increases to 84. But apart from that, my best finish position and all of my fastest times are obviously going to stay exactly the same, as we were unable to beat any of those in today's park run. But now, as I always do, I'm going to take you through a couple of the pinch points. Now these are the points which are going to slow you down and stop you from getting your PB at this park run. So pinch point number 1 is going to be the fact that it is slightly hilly. So obviously those hills are going to slow you down. You're not going to get your fastest time because of those hills, and that hill right at the start is definitely going to take a little bit off your time. And then pinch point number 2 is going to be the congestion. So obviously at the start it was pretty congested, and we lost quite a few seconds just trying to weave in and out of people. So like I was saying earlier, I recommend getting out towards the front if you're looking for a PB today. And then pinch point number 3, which is going to be a very small one, but there is a small section on grass, and I always think it's much harder running on grass than it is on a hard standing surface path. So that little section at the end and at the start is obviously going to take just a couple of seconds off your time there too. But apart from that, this one is a pretty good one. Obviously you're not going to get your PB in my opinion, but like I said earlier, you're going to have to let me know down in the comments whether you think there are any other pinch points or whether you think this one is pretty good for a PB. And now this section's for anyone who is thinking of coming to this park run, and that is the tips and tricks telling you how to get to the park run and where to go for that all important post park run coffee and cake. So we always start off with public transport. So the closest station for the trains is St. Peters train station, which is only an 11-minute walk from the start. So I highly recommend getting the train if you are on a train line, as it is nice and easy to get to the start via train. And then another option of getting to this park run via public transport is via bus. So there are plenty of bus stops in and around the area, but the closest one is Prince's Highway, and that is about an 8-minute walk from the start, and it takes both of these two buses which are listed in that top right hand corner. But if I were you, I'd just check from where you are, have a look on Google Maps and see which is the quickest option, because there are plenty of bus stops around which take different buses. So depending on where you are coming from, then that'll be your best option. And then obviously there is also the option of driving. So there are plenty of spots along Barwon Park Road, which is just alongside it here. And then there's also a couple of car parks in Sydney Park. So there's a couple towards the northern side. So they're the different options if you are looking to park. I don't know actually whether you have to pay at the car parking spots or not. Someone will have to let us know down in that comment section below. And then finally, where to go for that all-important post-park run, snacks and drinks. Well, there you'll head over to the Sydney Park kiosk, which is just a 7-minute walk from that finish line, and they do stuff like coffees, toasties, there's juices and like rejuvenation drinks, which are really good too. So I recommend going there if you're looking for a drink after the park run. So that is going to be it for St. Peters Park Run. So if you have enjoyed this one, I recommend going and checking out last week's, which was over at Ted Scobie Oval Park Run, which was a lot different to this one. So there are only 32 runners at this one. It was a very small, communal, quiet feel to it. And then there was also a hilly 4-lapper, which made it just that little bit harder. Or you can go and check out all of my other park runs, which I have in the worldwide park run playlist, which has them from Europe. It's got a couple in Asia too, and then it's obviously got a load in Australia as well. But next week, we're going to be heading over to Cooks River Park Run, where I think this one is going to be maybe a little bit easier than the one we did this week. It should hopefully, fingers crossed, be a lot flatter too. So if you did enjoy this, please smash that like button and also subscribe if you're new, as it goes a long way to supporting the channel, and hopefully in the future we'll get a lot better videos out and more park run videos, so hopefully we can beat those times on that leaderboard. So I'll see you all next week with another park run video.